Located between Mount Pilchuck in the Cascade Mountains and Whidbey Island in the Puget Sound, lies the seventh largest city in Washington state. This city is often overlooked as a destination, but I'm here to share that good things happen here. Welcome to RV Out West. I'm your host, Brooks. My Family of Four's base camp is located in the beautiful Pacific Northwest, and our RV adventures radiate out from there. Please grab a mug of coffee and join us as we discuss RVing around the American West. From sweet camping spots, gear and equipment, to tips and tricks, we've got you covered. We are RV Out West. Only 25 miles north of Seattle and 85 miles south of the Canadian border is the city of Everett, Washington. This city was incorporated in 1893 and now has over 110,000 people who choose to call it home. Growing up in this county, if you had told my younger self that I would be living here, I would have said you're crazy. Since then, I've drank the Kool-Aid and I've been living here since 2010, and I love it. There is a lot going on here, from outdoor activities, a thriving artist community, a kick-ass food and drink scene, to sporting events, concerts, and festivals. Joining us today is Garrett Hunt, the co-founder and CEO of Live in Everett. And what's really exciting about today is this actually is the very first in-person episode that I've had with a guest. So I'm very pleased. Thank you so much for coming to the studio.
I'm so honored. I didn't know I was going to be the first in person. So, hey, we're breaking new ground. It's
You
awesome.
are. I think we need to do a quick cheers.
Let's do it. I've been eyeing
cheers.
this thing for a minute. Cheers.
cheers.
Thanks for
Salute.
having me.
The Wicked Weed Brewing. It's the Coastal Love Hazy IPA out of Asheville, North Carolina. I brought these beers all the way back across country.
Dude, thank you.
This
is delicious.
It was waited for a perfect time, and today's the perfect time. So, salute.
That's awesome.
So, Garrett, can you share with me why Everett for you? Kind of starting Live in Everett. Are you referring to Live in Everett now as a media company?
So, yeah, to answer the first part of your question, I love Everett, and the reason why I love it and what first brought me here is that I grew up about 20 minutes north of Everett in the north end of the county, where it's pretty rural. There's no sidewalks or anything. And so Everett was kind of our local big city as a kid growing up, and I loved that. It was on the water. You could actually like ride your bike around town and walk places, and it just felt like this connected community, especially North Everett and the downtown area that has like the older historic buildings and everything and the gridded streets. And I was always attracted to the vibe of it. And so I moved to Everett about 2009, 2010 or so. What I like so much about Everett is that it's a small city. I get overwhelmed in big cities. I get bored in areas that are too rural. So to me, Everett was just not only a nice balance of being a small city, but it's a good location too. As far, if you need to go down to Seattle, it's only half an hour away if you can avoid traffic. And there's so much beautiful hikes and places around Snohomish County. So Everett is just a nice central launch pad, and it has everything you need. In every direction you look in, whether it's west towards the Olympic Mountains and the Sound, or you're looking east toward the Snohomish River and the Cascades, I mean, it's like a picture postcard perfect view no matter which direction you're looking. It's just a gorgeous place. And when I moved to Everett around 2010-ish, it was just so undervalued. It was so affordable. As with many places now, that has started to shift a lot as housing prices have gone up all over the place, including in Everett. But it's obviously still more affordable than Seattle. So, and I could go on and ramble forever about Everett.
Now, for those listeners who are not familiar with what exactly Live in Everett is, go ahead and tell us a bit about kind of what Live in Everett is all about.
Yeah, so I started Live in Everett in 2015 with my friend Tyler Chisholm. The intent of Live in Everett was always to be a community blog, kind of a local resource by locals for locals. We basically celebrate good things happening in Everett. We publish new stories every week. We put out a weekly newsletter called The Weekly Goodness every Thursday morning that shares about local upcoming events. We have an events calendar on the website. And so basically lots of like arts and culture, fun things to do, good places to eat.
Well, then, now that we know, people can find it at liveineverett.com. I feel like Everett is one of those places where people usually just, they don't stop. If they do stop, it's a quick fuel up or a quick overnight, and then they go. And I really think Everett has a lot to offer as a destination for places for people to come and travel and check out. So let's just kind of start spitballing. What are some of the fun places that you like to do or experience or activities that are here within the city?
So one newer one that opened up this last year, I don't know if you've been to Flying Squirrel yet.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Flying Squirrel's off the hook.
Yeah. I feel like it's fun for all ages, but especially if you're trying to like do something fun for the kids, I think they say it's like the largest indoor trampoline park in the state or something like that.
It's wild.
There's so much variety with the trampolines and the climbing walls, and they've got the arcade. They've got, the full bar. I think it's a full bar for adults, and they have beer and wine.
They have beer and
stuff,
wine. I don't know if they're full, but yeah.
And they've got pool tables and stuff. And so, they've got a nice variety there. So that's a fun one that I find a lot of people still don't even know that one exists.
On the note of children's, then, one of the things we've always loved that was near and dear to our heart is the Children's Museum.
Oh, yeah.
So the Children's Museum on Hoyt Avenue is great. We've gone down numerous times where, because Everett is right here, or Boeing is right here in Everett, there's a front of an airplane cut in, that's an installation, and it's like a please touch museum. So the kids can go in, pull the levers, push the buttons, pretend they're pilots, or the train tracks, the Brillo train thing they have there.
And they just did a massive expansion there.
Huge.
Recently, too.
I've heard excellent things. I mean, we used to love even going up to the playground, the rooftop playground.
Oh, yeah. The views are so great up there.
Cool views, and then the kids are running around. Yeah, that was always something fun.
So when you were talking about that, you mentioned Boeing, since, Everett is home to, I believe it's like the largest building in the world by volume at Boeing here in Everett, or at least it was at one point. It's massive. And I used to do a little bit of work with local tourism, and I learned that the Boeing tour that they do out of the they have an aviation museum.
Yeah,
in South Everett. The Future of Flight is where they do the Boeing tours at. And I specifically bring that up because when I did work with local tourism, I learned that is by far the number one tourist destination in Snohomish County, is that Future of Flight Museum with the Boeing tour. Is a massive tourist draw.
One of the other little nuggets for those people who really like to do outdoor activities and like kiteboarding, Jetty Island is so much fun in the summer, and it's so shallow there that the water actually gets warm, that you can kind of, I don't want to call swim, but you can go and wade up to your knees, and it's pretty close to like Atlantic Ocean warm.
It's by far the closest beach I have. I know this is going to sound crazy, and I'm worried about overhyping it, but by far the closest beach I have found in the Northwest that reminds me of Hawaii.
Yeah, it's got this beautiful sand beach. You take a 3-minute ferry boat out to the island, and then you can go and you bring your lawn chair and you can make sand castles. You can sit outside, bring a cooler, and pack a lunch. Yeah, it's wonderful.
Nice.
It's great.
Yeah, and you can even rent. I believe they have kayaks and stuff for rent too, if you don't want to wait for the ferry boat.
And you can just paddle across.
Just paddle over there.
Yeah, I mean, it's a stone's throw from the launch to the dock.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you can see it from the Everett waterfront. It's like right there.
Well, and then the other thing, too, about it is if you're into kiteboarding, that is a huge kiteboarding destination, too. And I'm not a kiteboarder, so I don't know where you go to track the wind and figure out if it's good conditions, but I see kiteboarders out there all of the time. I do feel that it would be a miss to talk about Everett and not talk about the purveyor of pop culture.
Right?
Right? I mean, you can't talk about Everett and not talk about Funko.
Absolutely.
I mean, those pop figurines and Funko's headquarters and their flagship store are right here in downtown Everett. So to come and to look, I mean, the museum, the store is a museum in and of itself. Even if you go in and not buy anything, it's still just amazing.
Oh yeah, just all the photo ops alone. I mean, as local as, I mean, I don't know how often you go there. I haven't been there in a while now because, I think sometimes they'll come out with new products and stuff. I mean, it's crazy how many different, because I think they hold like the highest number of licenses of like any company.
Yeah.
So it is cool. I don't really collect them. Like I have a couple.
Yeah, me too. I
So
have cousin Eddie.
It's fun to pop in once in a while. But yeah, if someone who's never been, I mean, it's so much fun. They did such a good job setting up the store. Yeah, like you say, it almost is like a museum, or like the way someone described it to me was that the quality is almost like a Disneyland type of quality in the way that they did the different worlds, because they have all the different sections with the Star Wars world and
the sports,
the Harry Potter world, and all these different things. So.
And I believe now too, they have the thing where you can make your own pop.
Oh yeah.
As you.
Right.
You can kind of go in and pick out different pieces of whatevers and make your own Funko Pop that is a replication of oneself.
Yeah, which is so cool. I went and did that when they started the kind of first version of it, when they didn't have enough options to make yourself, but you basically just got to pick from all these different pieces to kind of make your own. But yeah, now they've expanded it. You can actually make yourself or a friend, or that would actually be a good gift for like presents and stuff.
Great gift, absolutely. The other thing that I really like about Everett is that there is a really fantastic art community. There's, a bunch of different galleries. You have the Shack Art Center, which does a lot of really cool stuff for glass blowing arts. You've got Lucky Dime downtown that does other smaller art installations of up and coming artists. So there's a lot. Village Theater, if you're into the theater, this is not your community theater. I would put Village Theater on par with, the types of productions that the Seattle Repertory Theater puts out.
So I have only been to one play on Broadway when I went to New York. Or I don't even know if it was actually technically on Broadway, but it had like some famous actors in it and stuff. It was like a legit like New York play. And, I haven't been to a ton of plays, but I was like, wow, just the quality of this like doesn't even compare to like Village Theater's production quality was like so much higher.
And because it's not super big, it's a very intimate theater too, which is really, really great. We were season ticket holders for a while, and then we ended up getting Silver Tips tickets.
Oh, nice.
So now we do the hockey route.
A little bit of a switch.
It's a little switch. We went from Village Theater to the Western Hockey League and our local Everett Silver Tips, which are high school boys that are playing at the top of their game.
Are they all in high school?
Yeah, they're high schoolers.
I didn't realize that. Yeah. Real quick, I wanted to mention on the artist side of things, art galleries and stuff. There's also, if someone happens to be around during the art walk, which they do I believe it's the third Thursday of every month. And you mentioned a couple of the galleries already. There's also a Zamarama gallery downtown. Black Lab's always got some cool shows. And so the art walk is like the perfect chance to go around and check out the different galleries and stuff.
And it's all walking, which is great. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
Yep. Speaking of walking, usually it opens Mother's Day weekend and goes through about now. I think it's
through the end of this month.
Through the end of this month.
If you're talking about what I think you're talking about.
I'm talking about what you are. Yeah, I'm talking about the Everett Farmers Market. This is one of the most incredible farmers markets because I love that it's in this urban area. It's right downtown on Wetmore Avenue between Everett Avenue and Wall. And it's just, they close the street off and you're just walking through. There are so many great farmers and handcrafted goods of soap making and flowers and jewelry and
hazelnuts.
Oh
my gosh. Have you tried the I think it's like Holmquist hazelnuts or something, this vendor there? They have these coffee glazed hazelnuts.
No.
Oh, they're dangerous.
Are they?
They're way too
Well,
delicious.
the Snohomish Bread Company. I mean, I'm like croissants and bread. I'm like, yeah, dude, so many good stuff there.
Yeah, they have some food trucks and different, fresh food from vendors on site, and it's a fun time.
It is it's a
good market.
Time.
They usually have live music going.
Yeah,
it's a great market.
So any RVers who are in the area can easily do a little provisioning and pick up some fresh produce and handmade pasta and hazelnuts and breads and take back to your campground to either have for a dinner or to provision if you're leaving town. One hidden little nugget here in Everett for those that are into David Lynch and Twin Peaks is Laura Palmer's house. And that was shot, and that scene, those scenes from that TV show where the exterior shots of Laura Palmer's house were captured here in Everett. So if you're a David Lynch fan, a fan of Twin Peaks, and you want to see Laura Palmer's house, it is here a quarter mile from the core heart of the downtown Everett. I'm not going to give the address because it is a private residence, and so I don't, But if that's something you want to search out, I'm pretty sure you can easily find it on Google and know where you need to go. But I do want to call out that Laura Palmer's house is here in Everett.
It is super cool. Yeah, I would imagine it'd probably be easy to find with a little Googling, a little duck-duck-going.
Yeah. You could easily duck-duck-go that, no problem.
And then you're speaking of hidden things. This is probably one that is a little bit weird maybe to mention, but kind of hidden, kind of cool if you're into history at all, is the Rutgers tomb at the Evergreen Cemetery. I've
heard about that. I've actually never gone. Have you seen it?
You've never been? I've seen it. I've been there. It's actually, it's kind of weird to be like, oh, this cemetery is like cool or beautiful or whatever, but it is this, really old cemetery with, Civil War veterans and stuff. And it's kind of built on like these rolling hills with really beautiful trees. I think there's like 7 state trees like in that cemetery. And the Rutgers tomb is a giant granite pyramid that they made, I want to say around 1908. It's about 30 feet tall. People climb it even though you're not supposed to. There's all these urban legends around it and whatnot, but it's pretty epic. And they also filmed part of the movie The Fugitive there right next to it.
Oh, with Harrison Ford.
Yeah, where they do a shootout scene. I believe, wait, am I getting 2 movies mixed up? Maybe it's The Assassin with like Sylvester Stallone. I don't know.
I might have to go watch both of those now. I might have to go. I actually, you know what? I need to go out and check out that Rutgers tomb. I've heard about it, but I've never actually seen it with my own eyes, so I might have to make a pilgrimage.
It's pretty cool.
Okay.
It's not a bad place for a little walk. It's like I said, there's some great trees there. It's
cool. I will check it out.
Nice little spot.
The last thing I do want to mention about activities and things to do in Washington is the using Everett as your base camp for any and all outdoor activities just makes sense. We have so many water sports with the Puget Sound right here. So if you want to paddle or, you have a boat and you want to go boating or do fishing or go into the river, we have a ton of lakes for great paddling as well. So there's a lot with Silver Lake, there's Hydrology Sup and Sup rentals right there. They also do Sup yoga right there on Silver Lake during the summer. So there's a lot of really cool outdoor activities. We have great hiking. As Garrett said, it's a great walkable city. So there's a lot to do from an outdoor perspective as well here in Everett. I have a couple of bonus activities that I want to talk about that are not the normal activities, only because these happen once a year.
Okay.
So I'm a music geek, love my music, and I love the fact that we have Fisherman's Village Music Festival in May. And like Diggable Planets were the headlining band last year in May. 90s hip hop. They are an amazing hip hop band, and they were the headlining band. But what's so great about Fisherman's Village too is it showcases local bands here in Everett to regional bands that maybe, I learned of a really great hip hop band called Martial Law Band out of Seattle, and I really like them. So the bands and the performers that come, Lady A, one of the most amazing blues singers, made me cry. She's just awesome. There's so many great, talented musicians, and so to have this music festival is a real treat to have it here in town. And it's right downtown. There's 4 stages. They shut down the city streets and put stages up. It's a big thing. And I know you're a part of the Upper Left Beer and Food Truck Festival.
I am, yeah.
So tell me about that.
Live in Everett has been putting on the Everett Food Truck Festival for quite a few years now. And in more recent years, we did start partnering with the Upper Left Beer Fest. And so we do them same day, same time, literally right across the street from one another. And so we typically have around 20 food trucks. We shut down the street, just line a block or two with food trucks with a nice variety of basically anything you could want or imagine, including dessert trucks, of course, because after you
right, you need to get an ice cream or something,
a
cookie dough truck or whatever.
Exactly, and then you've got the Upper Left Beer Fest right next door, which they have. I think they usually have something crazy around like 75 different beers and ciders to choose from. You get your little sample glass with tokens, and it's a ton of fun. And then we have the Everett Makers Market there right next to the food trucks with lots of local artisan vendors that come out. And it's just like one big party we do every August.
Yeah, and you do it. It's usually around the 13th of August, give or take, right? That second weekend in August.
Yeah, I think that's what we did this last year. Prior years, we were a little bit later in August. But it's always been sometime in August, though, between mid to late August.
There you go. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to transition, and I have a question for you.
Okay.
Little story. You have been captured by aliens. Okay? You've been gone from Everett for a while, and they return you back to Everett. Where's the first place you would go to eat out?
Well, this is fresh on my mind because I had this for dinner last night, and it's so stinking good. Not only was it a premeditated dinner purchase that I was really excited for, I've continued thinking about it today because, Ray's Drive-In.
Yeah.
Which, when, we used to, through our Live in Everett website, we used to do the Evie Awards every month where we'd have people vote on Everett's best thing. So when we had people vote on Everett's best fish, Ray's Drive-In was the winner, if I remember correctly. They have great house-made tartar. And so they have a fish sandwich. And I recently learned that I can have them add all the fixins, add cheese and veggies, and because usually with fish sandwiches, a lot of places don't put that much on them.
No, it's just tartar and the fish usually, and then maybe a slab of lettuce.
You add the cheese and tomato and onion and pickles, and it's so stinking delicious.
Have you had their onion rings?
I don't think I have.
And you know what else? Their fried mushrooms.
Ooh.
Are incredible.
Okay.
The fried mushrooms.
Nice.
At Ray's.
Yum.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to have to try some new things next time.
Mm-hmm.
I also really love the vegan milkshakes at K-Fresh.
Oh, really? I have not had them there.
I mean, their bibimbap bowls are delicious in general, and I don't eat much meat. And they have this, it's like a sweet ginger jackfruit, I want to say, something to that effect. That is so delicious. And, you get with rice and all these other veggies and stuff, and they're great. But the vegan milkshakes are my jam.
Okay, I'll have to check those out.
They're coconut based.
Oh, that's good. Well, on the sweets, I love Delight Donuts.
Oh yeah,
Delight Donuts does some amazing stuff with their donuts, and they're not quite like voodoo donuts, and that's good because I don't want them to try. What I love is that they're doing their own thing. They're very artistic and very tasty as well. Where would you say is your favorite place to grab a taco in town?
Ooh, El Mariachi opened a brick and mortar recently.
I know.
They have amazing birria tacos. How about you?
I'm going to go with Taco Book.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm a big fan of sushi as well. So I love Kai Sushi, but we also have Katana Sushi. So both of those sushi spots here in town are really, really good. The one thing that I was really surprised about, though, when I first moved to Everett, I was really, really surprised about was Terracotta Red. The Chinese food there is not like kind of what I would call a traditional New York style Chinese food. They're like fancy Chinese food.
Yeah, it's more of like a fusion, like modernized version, maybe.
I would agree, and it's really, really good.
Yeah, they do good stuff.
Where do you go for Italian food in town?
I love me some pizza, which is in the Italian family, not necessarily like,
your pastas and your
you might not have the full menu in my typical go-to since I'm a pizza fiend. I I do like Major League Pizza, which I think they do like some calzones and other stuff. I think Brooklyn Brothers does calzones and stuff too, actually, now that I think about it, because Brooklyn Brothers has great pizza too. Those are probably my two most common.
Yeah, Brooklyn Brothers.
go-tos.
Although my gripe with them is they're called Brooklyn Brothers and they don't make a white pizza.
Oh.
A traditional New York style white pizza, which is going to have more of a white sauce, and it's like lots of mozzarella and garlic. It's just delicious, and I don't know why.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, if you go to Major League, it's all about the beer battered crust. FYI.
Oh, it is. Yeah, I 100%. I totally agree. Yeah, it's so good. For libations and cocktails, Blue Water Distillery, for their craft cocktails, like it's a great date night or on a nice spring, summer, fall day to be able to sit outside and have some of their wonderful cocktails. I love that they make their own gin and their own vodkas on site, and their bartenders know what's up. I mean, they can really make an amazing cocktail. And their food is great. They do a lot of locally sourced, seasonal menus. So it's really fun to kind of go and be in season and see what season. Although I've racked up some really big tabs there because the cocktails are not cheap, which is fine. I don't want cheap cocktails, and neither is their food. So, I mean,
you're going for quality.
You're going for quality there for sure.
Not because of the prices. Everything they do is top notch.
Totally top notch. It's one of my favorite places to go, and it's an easy Uber ride.
Yeah.
It's an Uber ride down to the marina.
And it's beautiful down there.
Yeah,
just getting to hang out by the Everett waterfront. Yep. And if on the other end of the pricing spectrum, perhaps, if you want to, something a little more simplistic, recently the Scuttlebutt Tap Room increased their hours. They're open on Sundays and Mondays as well now, and they're doing $3 pints on Sundays and Mondays, and they have, foosball and cornhole and stuff there. And
I remember I went down for an event. I don't remember what the event was, and they had axe throwing going on.
Oh, yeah.
What could possibly go wrong? Let me have a couple of beers, and now let me go throw a couple of axes. Luckily, I kept all my fingers and toes, and I even got a bullseye, but it was awesome.
Yeah, they do some fun events there sometimes. Like earlier this last summer, I took my daughter they had a dog show there.
Oh, fun.
Which, they were like encouraging people, educating them about adopting pets and stuff like that. But then, this company that does it, they also put on a show. They had these dogs, jumping over like crazy tall things, and it was fun.
Your daughter didn't talk you into taking a dog?
I'm close.
Okay.
Maybe within this next year. So I've been like researching breeds and stuff and trying to figure it out. But so not quite. But you know what?
What?
We entered. They had this thing. You guess how many dog treats are in this mason jar, and we won it. And so we won a bunch of like a dog bed and all these dog toys. So I'm like, well, now I guess we
just have to get the dog now. Yeah.
That's all that's left.
Totally. The other thing, I'm going to go on the record and make this statement. It is a bold statement that I'm going to make. In my opinion, the absolute best margarita that I have ever had, probably, and I will even go on record even more so, like stake in the ground and say the best margarita in Snohomish County.
I bet I know where you're going with this.
Is the New Mexican.
Yeah.
Their fresh lime squeezed is absolutely incredible.
And huge.
One time in my life I've had two, and it was too many.
I believe it.
Yeah. And they're incredible. They're so delicious, and you can tell the quality and care in the limes, and it's so good.
Though if anyone does head to the New Mexicans, because a lot of people get confused, they think it's Mexican food, but it's not. It's food from the state of New Mexico.
Like Tex-Mex. So it's a lot of moles, hatch chilies, really kind of smoky flavors. And, I mean, they're enchiladas with eggs on top that are just delicious. I mean, their food is just as top-notch. Another place I want to give a shout-out to is Soundbite Cider.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not normally a huge cider guy. I have, my baseline for ciders was Angry Orchard, which is just like, it's just sweet, and it's just not my thing. It's gross. I don't like it. But Soundbite Cider has flipped the script for me on ciders, and the kind of ciders that they make are really fantastic. And I love being a music geek. I love that they have a large musical influence within their tap room, but also in how they name their ciders.
Oh yeah,
Comfortably Plum, and they have a bunch of just fun names for that.
Yeah, Everett's only cidery. I think we have probably at least half a dozen breweries.
Yeah,
but Soundbites are only cidery.
Yep.
And they make some really delicious stuff.
They do. The other thing, while we're on the topic of pubs, I love the Irishman. And there's two things I love about the Irishman the most. One, and I've done this from personal experience now, in the core of downtown Everett, in my opinion, the Irishman makes the best old-fashioned. So if you're looking for the classic bourbon cocktail old-fashioned, I definitely think that the Irishman makes the best old-fashioned, and they also use real cherries. They don't use those really crappy, rubbery maraschino cherries that you get with like a Shirley Temple. They use the real good cherries, which is nice. But they make an incredible shepherd's pie. And I put it in it's burn your mouth so good. Because every time it comes out of the oven, I know it's hot and I should wait to let it cool. And I can't wait.
Resist.
And so I burn the roof of my mouth, the back of my tongue. Yeah.
That's the worst.
It's so good.
It doesn't surprise me to hear you say that they have the best old fashioned, because I went there, I think it was like last fall, which it's fall again now, so I should probably go see if they have it. It was on their special like cocktail menu, and it was kind of a twist on an old fashioned that had some sort of like apple cinnamon flavor, something or other, but it was so stinking delicious that I really need to go back and see if they have it again.
I'm going to have to check that out. Okay, we're winding down. And one of the last things I want to talk about, I feel like we'd be a bad Washingtonian, let alone a bad citizen of this great city. Coffee.
I like coffee.
Yeah. We have a lot of great coffee shops. We have a lot of great roasters here in town as well. Where's your favorite go-to place for coffee?
I like the Loft Coffee Bar is a place I like to go work sometimes, or even a Kindred Kitchen down on Broadway. If I'm like meeting up with someone to like hang out, I love going to either Narrative or Nadine's. Have really great atmosphere. We've got a lot of good options.
We have so many good options. It's ridiculous. I'm with you. I'm probably Loft, Narrative. I haven't tried Kindred Spirits.
Kindred Kitchen.
Or Kindred Kitchen. I just read about them in the Herald as well, in the newspaper that was talking about them.
Yeah, and it's cool because it's a part of Housing Hope, which is a local nonprofit, and part of what they do is workforce development and training, and so that is what Kindred Kitchen is an opportunity for them to train people and give them skills for the workplace. So it's not only do they have good stuff there, but then it supports a good cause too.
Yeah,
so
that's
it's a
great.
win-win.
That's great. Is there anything that you feel like maybe we should have talked about here as we're talking about Everett? It would be a draw.
I think you had mentioned the Silvertips hockey. We also have the Aqua Sox baseball team,
Yep.
which I like going. Like, I'm not a big sports person, but I appreciate going to events is fun. I appreciate good athleticism and all this sort of stuff. And what I like about going to sporting events in Everett is that, to me, it's just so much more enjoyable to be in like a smaller stadium, and to just not have to deal with the craziness that you deal with going, if you're going to go to a Mariners or Seahawks,
right,
dealing with parking, and it's just so much more expensive and time consuming. Whereas to me, it's just more fun and relaxed to go to sporting events in Everett.
I would agree. I feel bad for not mentioning the Aqua Sox games.
Yeah, I got to shout out the Aqua Sox.
Well, and as you guys love to say and live in Everett, good things happen here.
That's right. It's true.
Well, Garrett, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to sit down with me and to be the first one in person in the studio.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks so much for having me. How cool.
Yeah, I really appreciate it. Thank you.
For sure.
As you are beginning to plan your future RV trips, I hope that this episode enticed you to come and visit Everett, Washington. There are so many good things happening here, and I want you to experience all this great city has to offer. If you're looking for some recommendations on some campgrounds that are 20 to 45 minutes away from Everett, please head over to rvoutwest.com and check out the show notes for this episode. Thank you so much for listening. To help the show grow, please share with your RVing friends and family about this podcast. If you have an idea for a topic you'd like me to discuss, please contact me via rvoutwest.com. In our next episode in 2 weeks, we're going to wrap up National Energy Month as we discuss an often overlooked topic for RVers, a simple act that will increase your fuel efficiency. But most importantly, it is critical to the overall safety of your rig and your family. We will dive into this topic with a special guest who will share both tips and a few stories. Now, get out there, explore, and go see what's beyond the horizon. Thanks so much for listening to RV Out West. Join us again in 2 weeks with our next episode. Please like and subscribe to our podcast on iTunes or wherever you choose to get your podcasts so you never miss an episode. And I sure would appreciate if you left a rating or a review of the show. Special thanks to Scott Holmes Music for providing the intro song, We Are One. RV Out West can be found on Instagram and Facebook, where you can interact with us and follow along on our RV adventures around the Pacific Northwest. So get out there, explore, and go see what's beyond the horizon.